Well, a very good afternoon and thank you for joining us on Live at 1, the digital edition. I'm Michael Jenga. We kick off from the corridors of justice where the High Court will hear on Monday an application filed by activist Okia Umtata seeking the court's intervention to restore free-to-air television broadcasts. The case, which was to be heard today, was postponed after the Communication Authority raised objections on the jurisdiction of the High Court on a matter that has already been determined by the Supreme Court.
As the impasse between Communication Authority of Kenya and three media houses over digital migration continues for the second week, the Communications Authority of Kenya has raised a preliminary objection to the hearing of the petition that seeks to compel it to allow Royal Media Services, Nation Media Group and Standard Group to resume broadcasts as they set up their digital broadcast infrastructure. Communication Authority argues that the issues raised in Umtata's application have already been litigated and determined by the Supreme Court, which delivered its final orders on the 13th of February this year. Through its lawyers, the Communication Authority says that the High Court has no jurisdiction to overrule the findings of the Supreme Court because the Supreme Court ranks higher in the constitutional hierarchy and structure of the Kenyan courts. CAK argues that as such, the Supreme Court's orders cannot be subjected to review or be questioned by the High Court, and that it follows that the High Court is bound by the decisions of the Supreme Court and lacks jurisdiction of the matters. In his petition, Umtata argues that the Communication Authority selectively implemented the Supreme Court's orders and ended up violating the rights of majority of Kenyans who depend on the three media houses for information. Umtata says that the Communication Authority is promoting Chinese-affiliated Pang, which is a pay TV signal distributor, for improper motive instead of allowing Africa Digital Network, the consortium of the three media houses, to have time to roll out their digital platform. The matter will be heard next week.
We now move on to matter security, and the National Police Service Commission has released its annual crime report showing a 3% drop in criminal cases countrywide in 2014 compared to 2013. Now, according to the report, Nairobi County registered the highest crime level of 6,732, while Isiolo had the least cases at 219. Acting Inspector General of Police Samuel Arachi says 2014 had fewer road accidents because of speed governors, alcohol and ban on night travel. The report shows that accidents report in 2014 reduced by 460 cases compared to those reported in 2013, representing an 8% drop.
6 victims in 2013, and therefore total victims reduced by 216 cases, or 7% as compared to 2013.
Although we recorded a 3% decline in figures compared to 2013, we experienced some very serious challenges in the country, and these are the incidences which may have led the country to believe that actually there was an increase in crime.
Moving on, the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission has postponed indefinitely the grilling of former IEBC CEO James Oswago and the alleged fixer Trevor Oyombra. The two, who were set to appear before EACC investigators at Integrity Center offices early today, failed to turn up. Energy CS Davis Chirchir, IEBC Chair Isaac Hassan and former NEC Chair Paul Wasanga are some of the high-profile persons who have already been questioned by the anti-graft body in relation with a scandal dubbed Chickengate. Moving on, CORD leader Raila Odinga is today leading an African Union observer mission to Lesotho to oversee the country's elections. The elections will be held on Saturday the 28th this month. The Commission of the African Union has asked Odinga to lead its observer mission in line with the Durban Declaration of July 2002 on the principles regulating democratic elections in Africa. The mission, comprising 40 trained African Union observers from the Permanent Representative Committee, PRC, Pan-African Parliament, PAP, election management bodies, human rights institutions and civil society organizations from various states, will meet relevant electoral stakeholders in Lesotho, including the Independent Electoral Commission, IEC, leaders of political parties, civil society organizations and other international observer groups ahead of the Saturday elections. The observer group will complete the work of the AU long-term experts who have been deployed since the 29th January 2015 and will remain in Lesotho until 14th March 2015, when the Odinga-led team will produce a final report. Moving on, the Kenya Forestry Service, KFS, has expressed concern over failure by county governments to adhere to the requirement of 10% forest cover as per Vision 2030 target. KFC Acting Director Emilio Mugo says most of the county governments had failed to enact necessary legislations that will ensure a country meets the 10% forest cover. Speaking in Mombasa, Mugo said it was unfortunate that the country has only 6.9% forest cover, way below the mandated 10%. Present during the meeting was KFC Chair Peter Kirigwa, who said there is need for country governments to implement national policy guidelines as per the Vision 2013 agenda.
Kenya is a low forest cover country, and at the moment we are talking about 6.99% forest cover nationally. The Constitution and the Vision 2030 has given us a target of 10% forest cover, and therefore we still have about 3% forest cover to meet the constitutional requirements.
With the help of Kenya Forest Service, we've also promised the county governments that we're going to assist them in capacity building, so that they are able to start their departments within their counties in a normal way. We've got the manpower, we've got the experience.
Moving on, a hay and forage company is counting losses running into millions of shillings after herders from Laikipia allegedly invaded its farms. The livestock invaded the farm due to the biting drought experienced in most parts of the country. The drought in Laikipia has led to the increase in the cost of fodder, forcing livestock farmers to resort to hay to feed their livestock. The livestock farmers say the price of hay has shot up from 200 to 300 per bill.
Tumepata kumbe Wasamburu foreign illegal grazers from other counties wameweza kuingia hapa kwetu na wakaingia kabisa na wakarisha, wakaharibu nyasi ambayo shamba iko na imefanya kitu tunaita capital, ile imeweka as a loan ya about 40 million. So hiyo shamba imeshatumia 40 million na still we are paying the loan, na nyasi sasa imeharibiwa na Samburu.
Moving on, the family of former politician and businessman, the late Jenga Karume, held a memorial service marking 3 years since his demise at his Sianda home in Kiambu County. During the memorial, family members pledged to work together to protect their departed father's legacy. This comes after a tussle and court battles over prime properties and billions of investments left behind by the late Karume. A multi-million mausoleum is being constructed beside his grave to honor the late politician. Among those present during the memorial was legislator Jude Njomo, who described the late Karume as a selfless leader.
The Honorable Jenga Karume ambaye alituacha, mzee ambaye kwetu ametupatia mafundisho makubwa. Mafundisho ya kuonyesha kwamba ukifanya kazi kwa nguvu, ukiwa na focus, ukiwa unataka nini na maisha yako, unaweza kupata ile kitu unataka. Inaweza kuwa shocking, especially kwa mtu ambaye alikuwa ameamini na ameheshimu wananchi. Akiona kuwa siku hizi tuna viongozi ambao hawaamini wanaweza kuheshimu wananchi na wanafanya mambo kiholela bila kufikiria wananchi mahitaji yao ni gani. Hiyo ni kitu moja ambao najua inaweza kumshock.
Thousands of Egyptians have fled Libya after the Islamic State ISIS and the Levant ISIL forces murdered 21 Coptic Egyptians. At least 15,000 Egyptians have fled the war-torn Libya and crossed the border after ISIL fighters kidnapped and beheaded Christian Egyptians last week. Egyptian forces last week carried out airstrikes on ISIL in Libya hours after the organization posted a video showing the beheading of the 21 Coptic Egyptians. All back home, we move on to the day's business, and former Vision 2030 Delivery Board Director General Mugo Kibati has been appointed the new Group Chief Executive Officer of Pan-Africa Insurance Holdings Limited. Kibati, who has previously worked as the CEO of East African Cables, is expected to lead the group's growth strategy going forward. He holds an electrical engineering degree from Moore University and 2 master's degrees in international business finance and economics and technology and policy from the George Washington University and Massachusetts Institute of Technology, respectively. Kibati takes over from Tom Gitogo, who is now the group CEO of CIC Insurance. Now, controversy is brewing in Murang'a County over a new tea law. A section of tea factory directors from the county have opposed the tea bill, which is before the county assembly, claiming the law will allow the county government to interfere with the running of the tea sector in the region. The tea farmers gathered at the Kanyanyaine Trading Center in Murang'a County accused the Murang'a County government of attempting to control the county's tea sector through the bill. The farmers, who are led by KTDA Zone 3 Director Francis Masharia, claim that the bill purports to give county government powers to interfere with the production, marketing and value addition of the produce, despite this being the role of KTDA. The farmers have threatened to seek legal redress from the courts if the bill is passed in its current form. But Murang'a County's Trade, Industries and Resources Mobilization Committee Chairman Charles Kiregwe has dismissed the farmers' claim, saying that the tea bill seeks to protect the interest of the tea farmers.
The bill is talking about taking over the factories, the 4 factories in my zone. The bill is actually dealing with matters related to regulation of tea industry, which is not part of the county. The county is only supposed to deal with husbandry of the crop and cooperative matters.
Across the borders, let's move down south to Zimbabwe, where its economy is in a continued spiral and the unemployment rate is above 80%. But a new craze of making money has emerged, with betting and panting taking center stage. Hundreds, if not thousands, of mostly males of various age groups are now taking to betting on sports, especially football and horse racing, in the fight to make a living.
At a popular betting house in Harare, the game of chance provides a lifeline for Zimbabweans struggling to provide for their families in tough economic times. Less than 20% of Zimbabwe's people are in formal employment, according to independent economists. At a soccer shop, hundreds of men between the ages of 18 and 55, according to the owner of the betting house, spend their days placing bets, mostly on international soccer matches and horse racing.
Just trying my luck. I can come with $5 and maybe go home with $70 or $80. So basically, you know, the family needs to feed. They want something on the table. And sometimes out there, at work it will be stuck. There's nothing happening there, so you just come here and try your luck. Sometimes you lose, sometimes you win.
Weekends are the busiest time here at Soccer Shop, which has 2 outlets in the capital. Gambling is not new in Zimbabwe, but Soccer Shop manager Peter Barr says sports betting has picked up in the last 3 years.
With the advent of computer betting and multiple bets, especially in soccer, it's taken off like wildfire. There's an insatiable appetite amongst our gambling population to come and pit their wits against the odds. Here the punter works things out himself. He stands and falls by his own knowledge.
Zimbabwe's economy shrunk 45% in the decade to 2009 due to plummeting farming output and hyperinflation. In the capital, Harare, colleague graduates compete with hawkers scratching out a living selling anything from mobile phone cards to herbal sex tonics, a measure of the decline of Zimbabwe's Sunshine City. Analysts say the growing queues at betting houses and the willingness for some punters to risk even the little they have on the outcome of a game is a symptom of a population that's desperate.
I think most of them would far rather have a steady job, take home a steady income, and be sure of another paycheck at the end of the month, and the certainty of being able to feed the family, pay the rent, pay the school fees. All those sorts of things are the very uncertain issues that are faced by people who don't have a steady job and wonder if they can make enough money this time to pay the rent, but they know they might lose the lot.
Growth in Zimbabwe's economy is expected to pick up slightly to 3.2% this year from an estimated 3.1% in 2014. Authorities say low global commodity prices, a liquidity crunch in the financial sector, low domestic savings and lack of investment are responsible for weak growth.
At the currency market, the Kenyan shilling continues to hold firm against the US dollar. According to the Central Bank of Kenya, the local currency is trading at 91 shillings and 34 cents, buying 91 shillings and 47 cents, selling to the dollar. Against the euro, the Kenyan shilling is exchanging at 103 shillings and 65 cents, buying 103 shillings and 83 cents, selling, while trading at 141 shillings and 34 cents, buying 141 shillings and 57 cents, selling. Closer home, the home unit is trading at 7 shillings and 48 cents, buying 7 shillings and 58 cents, selling to the Rwandese franc. To the Tanzanian shilling, the Kenyan currency is exchanging at 19 shillings and 67 cents, buying 19 shillings and 75 cents, selling, while the exchanging at 31 shillings and 42 cents, buying 31 shillings and 58 cents, selling, versus the Ugandan shilling. Well, that's it on Live at 1, the digital edition. Thank you very much for being with us this afternoon. I'm Michael Jenga. God bless.